Hi, I'm Curt Frye. In this movie, I would like to show you how to identify values from one list that do not appear in another. The sample file that I'm using is called Missing Values, and you can download it using the link that I provide in the video description below. In this workbook, I have two lists. The first is a list of all of the states in the United States, plus the District of Columbia, which is Washington, D.C., our capital territory. And then also a list of states from which I've received orders. And there are some duplicates in this list. So what I want to do is identify values that appear in the entire list of states that do not appear in orders from, and that will indicate states from which I've not received an order. I will build up the formula in pieces so you can see what's going on. So I'll start by clicking in cell E2, and I want to count the number of occurrences of the first state in my main list, which is Alabama, that occurs in the orders from list. So in E2, I'll type equal, count if. The range that we will count is the list of orders from. So I will select that entire table column, and I did that by moving the mouse pointer over the header, and it changed to a downward pointing black arrow, then a comma, and the criteria will be the value in A2. We'll make this more complicated as we go, but I'll start by just pointing to that single cell and copying the formula. So we're looking for the number of times that Alabama occurs in the orders from list. I'll press enter, and it's 0. And from my experience with the data, I happen to know that that is true. Alabama does not appear. Then I'll click cell E2 and then move the mouse pointer over the bottom right corner of the cell until it changes to a black crosshair. That's the fill handle, so I'll drag down until I am next to the last state in the states list, and there I have my counts. There is an easier way to create the formula rather than creating it pointing to a single cell and copying down. So I'll press Ctrl-Z to undo, and then double-click E2 to edit. So instead of having A2 as a single cell, I will select the entire list of states. So I will move the mouse pointer over the header for the states table. Click the only column, so I have the states table, and then the name of the column is state. And what's happening is that rather than pointing to a single cell, I'm essentially creating what's called an array formula, so that for every value in the state column of the states table, it will see what the count is for the number of occurrences in the orders from table. So I'll press enter, and we get the same results as we did before, except the formula is a lot quicker to input because we didn't have to do any copying. So now I have values that are 0 and not 0. And one great thing about Excel is that I can use the not function to identify 0 values as true and any other value as false. So again, I will double-click E2, and then to the right of the equal sign, I'll type not. So we're doing a logical not. So again, anything that is a 0 will evaluate as true, and anything other than 0 will evaluate as false. So enter, and I get my true values at the top, and false, which means that there is actually an order from one of those states. And again, I am pointing to the state list here in column A. I can use the list that we just generated by creating a filter formula that will point at the list of states. So what I'll do is I will filter column A based on the values that appear currently in column E, but I'll incorporate that into a single formula. So I'll double-click E2 again, click to the right of the equal sign, and then use the relatively new filter function. So the array that we'll be filtering will be the original states list, so we need to enter it again. So to the right of the first left parentheses and to the left of not, I will enter in the states list and then a comma. So again, we're filtering this input, and we are including anything that doesn't appear, and that's why we use not. We want to have true values appearing in our list. And again, it gets a little mixed up because we have missing values, so we have to use not to flip true and false, but this is what it looks like. I have added another parentheses to the end, enter, and we get our list of missing states. So we have Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and Arkansas. And it looks like we have, let me see, 2 to 22 is 21 states from which we did not receive orders, at least from the list that appears here in column C. So again, there are a few steps to this process, and because we're looking for states that don't appear in another list, we have to use not to flip the true and false. Thanks again for watching this movie. If you enjoyed it, please like it and subscribe to my channel.